this is my review of Sonic X. Okay, so in this episode, because there are in fact Chaos Emeralds still on Prison Island, Dr. Eggman, Shadow and Rouge set up a plan to break into Prison Island to get the Chaos Emeralds. So the episode starts out with Mr. Tanaka and Chris planning to sneak into Prison Island using a paddle boat. Since Mr. Tanaka's reasoning being that since they have a bunch of high-tech security systems, most of which are being used to keep the prisoners in, they realize that the best way to get there is through a low-tech measures to actually get there. And obviously they're spotted because they're in a giant paddle boat. But right around the time the security guards at the prison are planning to take them in and try to go after them and make sure they don't get on the island. Dr. Eggman proceeds to plan his plan, which causes all of their security systems to go offline for a brief moment, enabling Mr. Tanaka and Chris safe passage on the island, albeit unwittingly in Eggman's case. At which point Dr. Eggman contemplates whether it's a good idea to break into Prison Island a second time, pointing out that he may be pushing his luck. And indeed, as Deco and Boko point out, the security systems have actually been updating significantly since Dr. Eggman was last there. But nonetheless, he decides to proceed with his plan and gives Shadow and Rouge their assignments. Dr. Eggman is going to distract all of the robots on the island. While Shadow is going to blow up the weapon supply, which is going to destroy the entire island. And Rouge is going to break into the vault and steal all the Chaos Emeralds that are there, which winds up bringing it up to a total of 4 by the end of the episode. But yeah, they have 3. For whatever reason, they have 3 Chaos Emeralds still on Prison Island, and Shadow eventually has to pick them up. But yeah, in any case, they go on into their respective plans, and the plans more or less go off without a hitch. Shadow makes it to the vault. Shadow and Rouge break into the front door while Dr. Eggman distracts the robots. But around that time, Tails and Amy show up in the X Tornado, and Amy initially confuses Shadow for Sonic, which seems to be a running theme with this arc. But she quickly realizes that it's actually not Sonic, and realizes that it is indeed Shadow who she quickly realizes has been causing problems for Sonic. And as Shadow and eventually Shadow and Rouge break into the vault, while Dr. Eggman deals with Amy, but Tails more or less gets into a fight with him and chases him off and distracts him for a bit, long enough for Amy to get inside, although Tails doesn't figure this out until much later. But in case Amy goes in to look for Sonic, while Rouge and Shadow go about their respective missions. Rouge eventually breaks into the vault and steals the Chaos Emeralds, while Tails battles Dr. Eggman and Shadow places the detonator that Dr. Eggman gave him. Eventually they do succeed in their missions. Amy doesn't eventually find Sonic and plans to break him out, but at which point the security team has scrambled the robots to go after all the intruders. And since there's quite a few of them in the prison right now, it's quite kind of better late than never. But yeah. In any case, they realize that the reason that the security system gets set off is because they see Amy go and try to break into Sonic's cell to get him out. So they start scrambling the security systems. And Sonic is very adamant on the fact that Amy shouldn't break him out just yet, although he doesn't explain his reasoning until later. And as they're talking, one of the robots shows up behind Amy, which she proceeds to smash with her hammer, which impresses Sonic, realizing that she can handle herself pretty well. And then she proceeds to break open his door. Only for Sonic to point out that the reason he's there in the first place is because he's trying to find out more about his doppelganger. He's trying to find out more about Shadow. At which point Amy points out that he's on the island, and so he breaks himself out. And they proceed to go through the island back to the entrance. sure enough, Sonic has, and after reuniting with everybody, Sonic decides to send them on their merry way while he goes to look for Shadow. And eventually he finds them and demands to know what he's planning, but Shadow dismisses him and the two proceed to battle. So, meanwhile, Rouge has made it to the vault, but because she gets into a fight with one of the bigger attack robots, she accidentally locks herself in the vault, and worst case scenario, there's only like a few minutes left on the detonator, and worse yet, the island is going into evacuation mode because they found the detonator and realized that there's not enough time to shut it off, so they just started evacuating people. And Rouge realizing that she's kind of trapped and is about to be blown up, begins to pout and calls up Shadow, who can't come to her aid mainly because he's fighting Sonic, and she's a little upset by that. So she kind of backs off. Meanwhile, Chris has heard all the security protocols and has gone on the island to go investigate. And Mr. Tanaka only finds this out when he goes back to the paddle boat to look for Chris and tell him that it's safe to come up. And after realizing that Chris is lost in the island somewhere, runs off to go find him. So, meanwhile, during the battle with between Sonic and Shadow, Dr. Eggman calls up Shadow and points out that he only has a few minutes left before the detonator goes off. And Sonic, upon realizing that there is indeed a detonator on the island, leaves to go find everybody and get them off the island. So, and he realizes he has very little time to do it. So he breaks off the fight with Shadow and goes to find all his friends and round them up. But in case once Sonic is gone, Shadow proceeds to call up Rouge and tell her that he's coming to get her and the Chaos Emeralds. And in the process proceeds to go into Chaos Control. But unaware that Chris is actually, and also in this moment, he also remarks, Maria, you will be avenged, which is interesting and implies that something happened to Maria that he doesn't like bringing up. We know Maria is a character in this story, but we don't really know what happened to her in this arc yet. All we know is that she was very important to Shadow and also to a lesser extent Dr. Eggman, and now she's no longer in the story anymore. So we're gonna find out what happened to her eventually. I know that's the story of Sonic Adventure 2. It explains why Shadow is the way he is. But in case, meanwhile, Chris sees Shadow and realizing he's about to take off, and realizing that after realizing that it is indeed Shadow and that Shadow is the one who caused Sonic to be arrested, proceeds to tackle him as he's in the midst of Chaos Control, much to Mr. Tanaka's chagrin, as he literally just caught up with Chris not moments later. But in case Chris and Shadow are unwittingly teleported to the vault. And Shadow grabs the remaining Chaos Emeralds from Rouge and is proceeding to leave. But Rouge points out that he can't really leave without Chris, since Chris is kind of would be collateral damage, and they don't really, and she's kind of grown fond of Chris just a little bit. But while Shadow points out that it doesn't really matter to him either way, eventually Chris is able to appeal to him to help him look for Sonic, pointing out that if the positions were flipped, Sonic would actually save Shadow. And Shadow agrees to help let Chris tag along, mainly because Chris reminds him of Maria a little bit, and decides to help him. So, and with that, he teleports him off the island as it's blowing up. So, needless to say, they didn't find Sonic, but Sonic is safe and sound inside the X-Tornado. He saw the explosion, but they don't know that Chris is safe. Mr. Tanaka is just into complete and utter dismay that the island is blown up and he didn't find Chris. So he has no idea what happened to Chris. All he knows is that the island just kind of blew up and Chris is unaccounted for somewhere. So yeah, Mr. Tanaka has every right to panic here. But yeah, this episode's interesting for a number of reasons. I want to bring this up because Shadow is an odd character in the series. He's one of the few characters actually who has kind of he has a bit of a dark backstory, and starting with Sonic Adventure 2 and the two subsequent sequels, if you want to call them, that came after him, where he was the main character. But yeah, Shadow is an interesting character because he's has a lot of baggage, and eventually they're going to have to resolve that. But yeah, this episode. But yeah, for the most part, Sonic is now out of prison. As far as they know, he's dead. They don't know where the prison staff don't know that he most likely survived the explosion. So they don't know, and all they know is that he escaped at some point, and they don't know where he is. And they were too busy evacuating to follow up on that. So they don't know where Sonic is. They don't know what happened to him. All they know is that the island blew up. So they have no way of knowing. But yeah, and also more to the point, Shadow, Rouge, and Dr. Eggman now have 4 Chaos Emeralds of the 7 that they need. So yeah, they're one step closer to activating the Eclipse Cannon, whatever that's going to be. And it's going to be interesting whenever that happens, because Shadow points out, as Shadow pointed out to himself, Maria will be avenged according to him. So clearly, Shadow has his own ulterior motives, and he's going to use the Eclipse Cannon for his own purposes. And once they get it activated, so it's going to be interesting seeing what exactly is going to happen. But in any case, that's my review of Sonic X. What did you guys think? Let's get a discussion over in the comment section down below, or over on my Discord server, link in the description. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, be sure to follow me on Facebook and on Twitter in the description below. And also be sure to check out my Patreon in the description below as well. It's only a couple bucks a month. It really helps me out, and you guys get access to a bunch of cool perks that I'm always saying thanks. So be sure to check those out in the description below as well. But in any case, thank you guys so much for watching. And until next time, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace!